I want to give you a brooder tour in case you want some inspiration or you're looking for what to do to brood your day-old chicks. Currently, I'm using a playpen that can expand. So this is one part of it. There's another section here that you just expand it. When they're a little bit older, I'll be able to give them a little bit more space before I can move them outside. I think this tent right now, the reason I bought it too is because not only was it the biggest one I could get, but it was also really affordable. It's about the same size as some of the smaller ones. I'll leave a link down below. They're in this tent, and I believe by, like, if I expand this, it'll give them a total of 18 square feet of space. I have 8 chicks right now. No, under the heat plate. Hi, ladies. And so, of course, I have a heat plate. I don't use heat lamps. This is my second season with this heat plate. I'm very happy with it. I've had no problems aside from sometimes this can get a little loose. And I do feel like in their first 2 days, it might be a little too tall for them. So they have to really struggle to get their backs up against the top, which is what you want them to do in order to stay warm. As you can see, these are a couple days old now, these chicks, and they're not struggling to reach the top. But I did notice they were struggling originally. And you can fix that pretty easily if you just put some additional bedding they'll be able to reach, or if you put something underneath that can maybe lift them up a little bit. But that's what this is here for. It's just a heat plate to keep them warm. And then as they age, every single week I'll just raise it up a notch, and then when they're ready to go outside, I'll take it out and start weaning them off. Of course, I have a feeder. I honestly just picked that up at the farm store. Originally, in the past, I've cut out from yogurt containers holes and put the food in, but that was way messier than this, and I wasted a lot of feed from doing that. As you can see, this feeder also still creates a mess. I've also tried milk jug feeders. I have not found anything for chicks so far that reduces feed waste, so this has been the best in my opinion so far, but it's still, as you can see, getting everywhere and causes some waste. I also have this waterer. I did try to start with the horizontal nipple drinker, and I found that, I mean, they do say, you know, 1 to 3 weeks. It depends on the nipple drinker, but I did find the chicks were not strong enough to push this in to get the water out, so I had to push it for them. They seemed to understand they had to push it, but they just weren't strong enough to push it, so I just put in that waterer so they can easily get it. And I'll probably try to at 1 week see if they can do it, and then if they can't, obviously I'll keep giving them that water until they are strong enough to push this. But I'm very excited for this so that they are able to have mess-free water. I hate cleaning out the water. That is one of the things I don't like. I did put it up on like a drink holder, and I'm not sure how long I will keep that in there for, because they love to peck it. I haven't seen them eat it yet. Maybe they just love the sound of them scratching and pecking it, and that's why they're obsessed with it. But that is the waterer. And I do find raising the waterer helps with reducing how messy it gets. So I've only cleaned this morning, and we're now into the late afternoon, and that's about as much mess that's in there. And that's just from them kicking. They're not like pooping in their water, which is something I struggled with last year. I also will say with the waterer, I learned to put a plastic like lid of a tub underneath it so that I'm not having to like change out a bunch of bedding. I can just lift up the whole thing and take it out with the plastic lid. I'll show you. I'll move a little bit. I'll show you right. So you can see there, that's like the little plastic lid it's sitting on. Not only does that help keep it level, but it also helps prevent water from seeping through, catches a lot of the water, and just like keeps the whole area contained. And I sometimes do that with the feed. If you get like cases of Monster or cases of protein shakes that come in like the box with the lips around them, you can just place that in and kind of contain the feed situation a little bit. The feed in the waterer, and then I'll try again in a week with this. But if you were considering using the horizontal nipples, the day-old chicks really struggled with this. Now the fun stuff, I do have the cement block in here. Not only does it help keep the tent in place, but it gives them a fun little hiding spot in here, and gives them something to like aim at Obviously, it's a little concerning if they like run into it. I don't want them to get hurt, but that hasn't really been a problem so far. Obviously, it won't be a ton of fun when this is covered in poop, but it is something that adds a little bit of play to their time, so I'm going to keep it in here at least for now. And then I also have this mirror, this hand mirror right here. You might see the chicks will frequently go over here and just stare at themselves. I am trying to encourage them to explore and look around things, so they like are able to build their situational awareness, their like navigational awareness, and they love this. I frequently catch them walking over here and looking at themselves in the mirror, and I move that mirror around sometimes just to help change their environment. I move their food around. I don't really know that you have to do that, but I just find it keeps them a little bit more entertained, which is fun. That way nobody's bullying anybody, or the bullying is reduced. And then finally, I think the last thing to mention is I have this little roost bar. You absolutely do not need to get that. I just remember last year when I was brooding my chicks, they desperately wanted to roost and they were looking for a lot of things to roost on, and I didn't really have anything to give them that was small enough for chicks. So I put this in here. It's probably a little early, but I have seen them try to climb it already, so they do seem a little interested. It also comes with a mirror on it. They don't seem as interested in the mirror as they are with this mirror, but they have tried to get on that. So I think what's next is figuring out how to give them their grit when they get grit and I start giving them treats outside of their diet. And also, at some point, introducing a dust bath, which I will definitely be putting on top of, like, a plastic lid like the waterer, just so that I can catch the dust that goes flying, because last year with the tent specifically, I found that it was really, really heavy and almost compromised the integrity of the tent when I was trying to empty it, with all of that heavy dust bathing material like soil and construction sand, that kind of thing. So that is something I will be doing so it's easier to clean up. But yeah, that is the Brooder tour here. And I definitely, if you were to consider anything, I would get one of these tents. I had one of those more octagonal tents last year, and if you're gonna get a tent, first of all, the one that I had last year opened from the top, that was terrible. It terrified them constantly reaching down to grab them. I love that this opens from the side, so I can reach in like this, and they're not really that scared. See, they even come to my hand. I'm not like scary coming in down from the top. Really, they don't enjoy that. So if you are getting a tent, that's why I chose this one. And it also has entrances in the other side when you open that up, and it also gives you a lot of flexibility and opportunity to give them more space if you need to, should they have to stay inside for a little bit longer than you anticipated, or you ended up getting a few more chicks than you planned to get. See, this one's checking herself out in the mirror. And then I'll link everything else down below if you want it to, but that is my second year brooder setup. So